Holy shit, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of moolah.
Warning, I swear a lot.
Hello friends, and welcome back to Limbus Company. So the stuff we just got, I'm inclined to wait until Walpurgisnacht to use it, because we can dispense Mr. New Heathcliff, so perhaps shouldn't waste resources on it. As much as I would like to get him right now, but I wouldn't even use him right now, so it's kind of moot. Because I don't have the resources to get him to a decent level. I have the assured oh, I see. This is where the ticket is spent. Fuck it. We'll do this. Yeah, we'll do this. But we'll save the lunacy for Walpurgisnacht. If and when that rolls around, whenever it does. So there is one guaranteed hello! That was quick. I've already got him! No! Well, I suppose we're getting nothing. Okay, but like I said, I'm going to save my resources for Walpurgisnacht so we don't run into another situation where I have to wait 50 million years to get Magic Bullet Otis, you know, but whenever the new thing is. Don't tell me what the new thing is. I'm going to go ahead of the curve now, right, and say that when the new hello! Ah!
지금부터 상호 2패하에 계약 검토를 진행하겠다. 헛짓거리나 하지 말자고 그래.
I'm not even sad. I like that. That's very cool. I was very interested in the Yuffie Association and Heathcliff's version of it specifically, so I'm quite happy with that. But the thing I want to say before I continue, before anything happens, when the new IDs are announced, don't say shit to me. I don't want to hear it, okay? Because people seem to be confused about that, and I want to be clear. I don't want to hear about it. Let me find out for myself. I suspect he does some envy. It's a tremor ID. Okay, tremor count. Tremor. Execution sentencing. It's all based off tremor. Very nice. When attacked while this unit has shield, inflict tremor count on the attacker. Deal more damage for every 6 tremor potency. It seems to be more pride based than... or at the very least the passives are built off of pride, but it could contribute to an envy party. Albeit not our envy party, because our envy party mostly plays off of bleed, if we were to pick a status effect. It doesn't even do much of that, to be honest, but that's what it focuses on. Still, we could get him in, although to be fair, we prefer having the factions in here because of Merso's passive. We'll leave it as is, it's all good. 6 days until this is done. I should probably speed up. At the very least, I need to get Heathcliff. I would like to get those other rewards as well. Straight on to Murder on the Warp Express. That'll be fun. Who's going to be stuck on the train for 50 million years? I hope it's not us. Ooh. Oh, that was slick. Very nice. All right, how did this happen? Yeah, how indeed. That's always how it goes, isn't it? How did this happen? First, we boarded the warp train to get to our next destination, P-Corp. P-Corp! Got into our fancy first-class flash freeze hibernation capsules and presumably got broken out of them immediately. We were supposed to arrive at P-Corp after a quick blink of an eye, but... Dante, please respond. There's... The first thing I saw when my vision returned was the perplexed look on Faust, who had entered hibernation at the same time as I did. Then I realized that we woke up mid-transit on the warp train, so who knows what amount of fuckery has currently occurred. It could literally be anything. For those of you who don't know, perhaps those of you who have not gotten warp train context outside of like Limbus Company, the amount of things that have occurred on warp trains, and for those of you who know nothing about warp trains at all, which I imagine is very few of you, the way warp trains work is that in our universe, the warp train goes from one destination to another in about like 10 seconds or so. Like, it's an absurdly quick amount of time. But the reality for everyone on the train is that, oh god, I can't remember the exact time frame, so y'all will have to forgive me if I'm wrong on this. Like, tens of thousands of days pass. Like, hundreds of thousands of days pass on the train, and typically everyone goes completely fucking insane. They also can't die on the train. You can't die on the train. Or at least, not as far as I'm aware of. I don't think you can die on the train. Although this is called Murder on the Warp Express, so I suppose that's about to change. But the point is, this seemingly instantaneous, magical, miraculous form of travel is actually supremely fucked. But the thing is, once the journey's over, you don't remember any of it, right? A team of W Corp employees come on to the train. They fix you up because presumably you've been fucking mangled by this point, because everyone always does. Like, people go mad, tear their own flesh apart. Like, it's the worst. It's bad. It's real bad. But the point is, the Warp Corp employees come on board, they fix you up, and they, like, erase your memory or something, and then you don't remember that anything in the trip happened, and as far as you're aware, only 10 seconds passed, and you arrived at your next destination. But if you're in first class, you can go into a cryogenic hibernation capsule, which means you do then get to skip the journey. Unless someone wakes you up, which is what's happening here. Which could only mean that we're now stranded in some lost unknown dimension? Dante, I understand your considerable degree of disorientation, but... What? What the hell happened? I don't want to be stuck here for tens of thousands of days. First things first, let's rewind and return to the very start of this highly unfavorable situation we find ourselves in. Dante being like, yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got myself into this situation. It all started when I was born, a few days ago. Our next destination is to a warp train, Dante, and I imagine it was poorly received by everyone. What? Yep, that's where it all started. There I was, still perplexed by the incidents at T-Corp, with my awful idea of clearing the air by asking Virgilius for our next destination, not knowing the storm that my innocent question would bring. Verily, I must have misheard. I'm quite certain you didn't, Kyoto. We are now en route to T-Corp Warp Station. Warp Train Station, the station for warp trains that are there that we will get on. The warp train station must have some conundrum that must be resolved there, indeed. A quest that must be swiftly addressed at the station, yes? Did a distortion pop up at one of the warp platforms or something? I see that you are now significantly less disinclined to take on some side jobs, but no. We are boarding the warp train to get to P-Corp. End of story. There's nothing between the lines, so don't try reading into it. Wait, what about Mephistopheles? Is Charon just going to drive it all the way around to P-Corp, or can we not get to P-Corp by vehicle, by land vehicle, by wheel vehicle, wheel vehicle? The sinners aren't pleased. It was only natural that the sinners immediately fell into a state of collective dumbfounded shock. None of the sinners have any history of working at W Corp, but we're actually taking that train. Through what vague information we could gather from the identities, we all had some fragmentary knowledge about the terrible secrets of the warp train's operations. I initially considered hiding this information from the rest of the sinners, but since sharing things with everyone and letting them get their 2 cents in usually ended up being pretty helpful, I've been sharing more of these as late, which now proves to be a bit of a mistake. Though I have very dim, if present at all, recollections from the time during which I wear the identities. It can be determined from the conversational records between the manager and the identities, and the mechanisms behind Warp Train's operations can be deemed as somewhat bizarre and inefficient. Oh yes, that 10-second trip that actually takes a long time, right? And when the train reaches the destination, they just wipe the passengers' memories. Thank you for summing that up a lot quicker than I did, Hongler. I also heard that the passengers get so tired and weary that they start literally ripping and tearing into one another. Yeah, that does happen. It does. It literally turns into a scene of doom. From Doom on the train. Sounds like I might finally have a chance to see a masterpiece with my own eyes. It's not worth it, Ryoshi. Really isn't. Even when the sinners wear the identities through my identity cards, the identities, memories, or beliefs don't bleed into them once it's over and done with. I remember when Faust explained that, due to the risks associated with embracing such influences, there was a filtering process to intentionally block them from reaching the sinners. That's why the sinners could use the identities of some of our worst enemies without getting infected by their philosophies and whatnot. Hence, Captain Ishmael. But it also meant that they couldn't retain any new information that each identity had to offer. That's why I keep a record of some things that sound particularly important and sometimes share it with the rest of the sinners. Was this one of them? My voice doesn't really carry well past the window, so most of our communication's one-sided, but I had an abundance of W Corp identities, so it wasn't difficult to piece together the truth behind the trains. But, maybe ignorance really is bliss. Your alarmed response and possible incompliance have already been accounted for. Lady Faust, then thou hast known this all along, wherefore hast thou not deigned to tell me of this? Faust has indeed known this all along, as no knowledge is out of Faust's reach. As expected, a solution to your dilemma has already been prepared. I seriously doubt your solution involves not getting on the train, so what is it? The bus! Oh, what about this bus? There's no way this thing fits inside a train car. Charon vetoes to no one to feed Mephi when Charon's gone. Miss Faust. The rearmost tail cars of warp trains are all freight cars. That is where Mephistopheles will be safely fastened and transported. And the LCB will have the benefit of boarding as first-class passengers, which is a massive privilege and would be ridiculously expensive to get like 15 people into first class. The bus begins to swell with noise again, though in a slightly different air to the alarmed response from earlier. First-class passengers? What, the seats for those pompous toffs? Even on normal trains you got those sods whose proudest accomplishment in life is planting their asses in first-class seats, while others are cramming themselves in freight cars because they haven't got the cash for even an economy's ticket. Ugh. Hey, don't look at me, I've never been in one of those first-class seats before either. Isn't the ticket for a single first-class seat like as expensive as 3 to 4 months' salary of a first-year wing employee? Can our budget really handle getting a ticket for all of us? So they keep telling us recently like, oh yes, money is no issue for Limbus Company, but these guys were eating like garbage at the start of this game, and like Heathcliff drank like 3-day expired milk or something and got ill, and it's like, how are they struggling to get food when headquarters can afford to shill out for like 15 first-class tickets? The company's budget is not a subject that warrants your concern. We have a lot of credit cards. I heard first-class passengers get some cool bonus stuff like personalized private capsules or something, don't they? That is the promotional language, yes. They are flash-freeze hibernation capsules to be precise. They have been designed to easily withstand the true amount of time it takes for the warp train to travel from point A to point B. The trip will be over in the blink of an eye for the passengers. The company's regard for our well-being is unfamiliar, yet welcome to be provided such extravagance merely for our comfort. Such occurrence is quite seldom. Right, I honestly thought they were going to slip just the guide and Charon into the first-class seats and ship the rest of us in the economy cars. This seems like an unnecessary luxury. They should have saved their budget and given only the executive manager and their loyal advisor access to those seats. Yes, indeed, Otis. Yes, indeed. I had a feeling you weren't about to volunteer to be put in economy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're taking the train to get to our next mission, alright? We have to think about the unique nature of warp trains and prepare ourselves accordingly. Right, I know it's first class and all, but warp trains are just plain creepy. I knew you'd also be worried about. For example, economy passengers are going to have a hard time getting into a first class car, if they can even attempt to open it. I mean, I'm pretty sure the door separating the cars is ironclad. Ishmael, who'd been holding that first class promotional pamphlet in her hands for a while, was chattering on with fire in her eyes. We won't even have to lift a finger. We just have to board the train, get into our capsules, shut our eyes, and snooze through the entire ride until all that mess in the other cars blows over. I heard they used to give out commemorative merch back when their finances were in the gutter, and... A true adventure is not without its hardships, yet even the most exalted of heroes cannot venture without respite, and, in very rare occasions, the hero may even deign to select a first-class seat to rest in place of a quaint inn. Indeed, indeed. Seems like everyone was at least somewhat interested in the fabled first-class seats of warp trains. I could sense that there was a growing consensus among the sinners that even a warp train trip might be acceptable if it meant they could ride in first-class seats. Yeah, but we don't, obviously. Well, I mean, we get to the seats, but then we're taken out of the seats again, and then, you know, a million years of misery, I suppose. I will board the train if I must, which is probably the most dissenting thing that Merceau has ever said, which is, I will do this, but I don't want to, basically. Is first class seating mandatory? I prefer the scenic route. Don't want to miss out on all the fun. Don't worry, you won't. But Gillies pretended not to hear Ryoshu's question. Very well, then I assume we're all in agreement. Let's go. I've a matter of great import to discuss with thee. What is it? Out of it, lass. Beating around the bush ain't like you. Don Quixote carefully began, almost whispering in a low voice. That is, in the first class seats. I have heard tell that we must board with our feet freed from our boots. Doth that claim hold water? Oh, come on now, what kind of nonsense gossip is this coming from this time? 'Tis no gossip, forsooth, I have overheard aught from those we have walked past ere today, and when one of them inquired, you know that you got to go barefoot first class, right? The other responded with, of course, man, what am I, stupid? Doth the traveller speak true, Ishmael? Don't ask me, I've never been on one of these either. I don't remember seeing anything like that on the pamphlet. Give me a sec. I mustn't be separated from Rocinante, not even for a twinkle. I shan't toss Rocinante to the side next to such vulgarities like the ugly shoes of Sir Heathcliff. Oi, you little... I implore thee, O illustrious red gaze, prithee grant thy eye permission and allow me to board with Rocinante. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. I expected Virgilius to answer with his usual exasperated rebuff. Contrary to my expectations, however, he responded in a somewhat serious tone, if tainted by that familiar annoyance. Fine, keep your shoes on. Now, those shoes are very important to Don Quixote, obviously, and I've heard theories and speculation. The favorite one I heard was that Don Quixote is not the person, Don Quixote is the shoes. And whoever puts on the shoes becomes Don Quixote. Now, I don't know how much water that would possibly hold. I'm not familiar with the literature that Don Quixote is from, but I do think it's very fun and very interesting. This place is huge! That was my first impression of the warp train station. Oh, so this is... Don Quixote shouted vibrantly, immediately recovered from her previous apprehension of the sheer possibility that she might be separated from Rocinante. So each nest has one of these massive structures in them? Oh, I've got nothing. Oi, know anything about what they're asking? Heathcliff asked, gesturing toward Massot with his chin. He's rubbing his chin. He's thinking. Every warp train station has been built with a general design philosophy that draws from their respective nests' architectural idiosyncrasies. It can also be said that many critics in relevant fields praise the warp train stations as one of the many cultural cornerstones of the city. Yeah, to be honest, if there's one way I would describe the warp trains, it would actually be a cultural cornerstone of the city, because it is so emblematic of what this place is like. Which is to say, convenience and benefit that defies the very laws of nature itself, coming at a horrific, terrible cost. You know, everything's a monkey's paw. I have no idea when it happened, but Heathcliff started treating Massot like a walking encyclopedia from time to time, because he basically is. He's been everywhere. He's done everything. He's Massot. Massot! Young Massot! Lo, is that passenger over yonder one from the west? Incorrect. Leather-based clothing and metal armor are predominant fashion trends often visible in the outfits of the Western population. While that individual's cloth-based style is something ubiquitously observed throughout the population of North and South, they are largely considered to be an Eastern fashion trend, rarely seen among Western. Prithee, slow thyself, for I must make a record of thy lectures. What wisdom dost thou have to impart regarding the fashion of the northern region? I have once espied in a magazine that they are garbed in puffy, loose-fitting outfits, understandably so, given the colder climate of the region. An opportunity for a first-hand observation stands before you. Oh, cool, they've got the multiple arms and such, like the prosthetics and whatnot. Ooh! Ah! 3 seconds of screaming duet, one of utter fascination, the other of unmitigated frustration. What the shit? You nearly blew out my eardrums! Fucker! You don't want to talk? Dude, I've got an audible frequency range expansion implant in my eardrums! Holy shit, man! Now get the hell out of my way, you're blocking the walkway like a ragtag band of hicks who's never even seen a warp train before. Damn it, I take the train all the way here for an expedition only to lose my target, and now these assholes are trying to blow out my eardrums. It's great, just great, I love this. Guys, is it that obvious that we've never been on a warp train before? Yes. And the round trip ticket fee came straight out of my damn pocket. Whoa, watch out, big fella. Someone might get seriously hurt if you keep swinging those 4 arms around, each holding a weapon to boot. four arms with a weapon each is very cool. Like the Rakshasa. Prithee, wilt thou stand still for but a moment to satisfy a few inquiries of mine regarding thy outfit? Oh, yes, stand in absolute stillness for 5 minutes and I... Seriously? The fixer, with a particularly impressive set of prosthetic arms, spent a few minutes venting several of his numerous grievances at us before storming off to a different platform. Ah, indeed, 'tis grand, the city of sundry odd personalities. I'm pretty sure he was thinking the same thing. I guess there really are a lot of people in the city with full-body prosthetics. Yeah, and that was a fucking cool one, to be fair. That's when Virgilius slowly walked up to our group. Why is there a distinct lack of music here? In between lines, I did check the options, and I haven't turned off the music. Look, I'll show it to you now. See? Background music's on, everything's on. The only reason I point that out is because I know there was some kind of visual bug in regards to, like, the final encounter in Take the Case of Time Killing Time. So I was wondering if that was happening here, but it might just be intentional. Well then, we'll rendezvous at the destination. Huh? Wilt the illustrious Red Gaze not ride alongside us? Do we embarrass you, Sir Virgilius? W Corp policy demands that fixers bestowed with a color title must board a train specially prepared for them instead. Yeah, because if a fucking color fixer got on a warp train normally and went insane, the employees wouldn't be able to handle them when they arrive at the other station, straight up. Ooh, are you like riding the first class plus or something? That's a color fixer for you, I guess. Special treatment from the wings no matter where he goes. Charon wants to go back to Mephi. Mephi will be lonely. I've told you before, Charon, 3 separate times actually. Each time I bought you one of those candies. The people aren't allowed aboard the freight cars. Then, Miss Faust. Yes. Virgilius, after exchanging a knowing look and a nod with Faust, escorted the particularly peeved Charon away. Dante, let us proceed this way. We followed Faust's guidance to the entrance of our train car. Damn, it's pretty high-tech in here. Very nice, very clean. We've seen this once before. It didn't go well for those guys either. Whoa, hey, our colors are starting to come back. Yeah, it's nice to see. Ooh. Hey, these must be the fabled complimentary food and drink of the first class seats. Heck yeah, of course, quality stuff like this gotta be included with that insane pricing. The general response to this room was a surprise at the rows upon rows of expensive looking sizable capsules. Flash freeze hibernation, huh? I guess it literally freezes our bodies in a flash, I would presume. Given the name. Faust, are these flash freeze hibernation devices, safe? Please elaborate on your exact definition of safe. Yeah. These things are supposed to freeze a solid, right? Can we really come back from something like that? I don't even think I can turn the clock on that. A flash freeze hibernation device will put you in a temporary state of death caused by rapid cellular cryopreservation process. However, the rapidity of the process prevents damage to your cells during the phase change. Therefore, in most cases, this will not cause any issues. However, you will technically die, so that's the thing. Faust is aware that this model has fully resolved cell membrane breaching issues caused by cryogenic density change or by ice crystal growths of hydrogen molecules. I hope this information has put you all at ease. I missed about half what you said, but your point is that it's safe, right? Yes, as far as Faust is aware, even if an issue were to arise during the journey because everyone will be reverted to their state at the beginning of the train trip upon arrival, there won't be any lasting complications from the said problem. You've got some real talent in dragging out something so simple as, yeah, it's safe, to so many words, seriously. Indeed, as Faust's talents are not limited to a singular field. Well put, Faust. Good response. Okay, but that still leaves a lot to be worried about. Just as I was wondering, however, I realized that there was something odd about the way she phrased that answer. As far as Faust is aware, are you saying that it could be wrong? As a general rule, Faust does not err. However, Faust is also not a divine being. There are certain information in the world that Faust is yet to have access to. Therefore, while Faust may speak the facts, what is said may not always align with the truth. That's a very roundabout saying of, I might not, I don't know, maybe. Okay. They don't call first class for nothing, I guess. P-Corp's way up there in the northernmost corner of the city, but this thing will take us there in the blink of an eye, huh? It's one hell of a time saver. Hoo-ha! 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 Prepare thyself, Rocinante! Thus begins the long jaunt. Oh, I've been meaning to ask, Don Quixote. Do you ever, wash those shoes? Where'd that come from, Rhodia? No, I mean, like, think back to when we were inside that whale. And also, it's been like 6 cantos, and I don't think she's washed them. When that whale blew up, we got all kinds of its gross slimy bits on us. They're on our clothes, our shoes, everything. Yeah. And do you remember how much we had to scrub to get that bloody, fishy, fleshy gunk out of our clothes? This really isn't something I want to revisit, but yeah. Right? And do you also remember how Don Quixote never took our shoes off once during that whole ordeal? Okay, I guess they do look a bit filthy. I ask thee, dear compatriots, hast thou ever witnessed an errant knight who leaves the side of their beloved steed? No, but they do bathe it, presumably. Can't say I've ever witnessed a knight before, though. Then thou shalt know, starting now, behold it, hearken to it, and remember it well. They don't even spare us a moment of quiet, do they? Whoa, have you been on one of these, Otis? I have been treated to premium VIP seats of similar grandiosity back when. This is nothing to fuss over. I'm that special and important, thank you. Otis, who was sitting there and shaking her legs, suddenly asked Faust a question. Hey, you're confident that no accidents ever occurred on one of these first-class cars, yes? And that's only because Warp Corp would never reveal that to the world. In order to prevent cases of unnecessary anxiety and misgivings among the sinners, the history of accidents that has occurred aboard warp trains will not be shared. That's surprisingly tactful. Wait, what the? Beep. Oh, I think we're leaving soon. This is for Warp Train PW612, bound for P-Corp. Boarding period is ending soon. The sinners, who were either leisurely enjoying their complimentary snacks or taking a look around the first-class car, suddenly became a lot busier. Then let us hurry and enter our capsules before it is too late. Oh no, why isn't this... The other sinners made it into their capsules no problem, but... I felt like I was the only one who's fumbling. Is it anxiety, Dante? Performance issues are nothing to be ashamed of. I think so. Initiating warp in 10 minutes. Allow me to assist you. Stand as though you are leaning back and... Faust expertly guided me into the capsule as though she'd done something like this before, then pressed the button inside the capsule that closed the hatch. Why would you stand there with your arms up in the air? I respect it, but why? Do not worry too much. We will meet again in but a moment, Dante. I thought I heard a brief sigh, but the hatch shut tightly before I could ask her anything. Initiating warp, please confirm that your seatbelts are firmly fastened. The last thing I saw before my capsule began to fill with gas was Faust climbing into her own capsule opposite mine. I had no idea then what she really meant by "we will meet again in but a moment." Or? Dante, you must wake up, Dante. But one thing I knew for sure was an inconceivable situation has occurred, so inconceivable that we all conceived of it before it occurred. That something had seriously gone wrong. Yeah, we're fucked. I doubt we're going to be able to just climb back into our pods either once the situation is taken care of. That music is swanky as hell. Mystery, drama, man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. Oh boy, disappearing passengers. Wonderful. Great, good, yeah, nice. We're here already? Wow, I guess that wasn't an exaggeration at all. It all really happened in the blink of an eye. As always, Faust was giving me her usual look, which was a complete lack of any emotive expression. Which I suppose is why I didn't immediately register that something had gone awry. No, we are not yet at our destination. Huh? When I finally came to, and after I had some time to digest that odd reply, I looked up at her face once again, and realized that her expression was more antsy than usual by a microscopically minuscule degree. So this train is still running? Yes. Then, where are we? I believe we are currently stranded in an unidentified dimension, coordinates unknown. I took a reflexively deep breath from the sheer horror of the numerous implications stuffed into that dryly delivered sentence. Oh, it's bad. When that passed, the first thing that struck my mind was that we were about to suffer the very thing that we were so worried about. I see. But I soon found myself calming down. Yeah, this had to be part of Faust's plan. She probably saw this coming from a mile away. That's Faust. I'm sure she's about to proudly tell me every little detail of her plan that will help us out of this situation. Go on, Faust, hit us with it. You definitely have a plan. Of course you do. But this is all just part of the plan, right, Faust? That was an unusually long silence from Faust. You are half correct, yet half incorrect. With that, Faust left me to flounder in the chaotic stream of vaguely terrifying information as she began stopping by each capsule to wake the sinners. Wouldn't it be nicer just leave them to sleep? Oh, we're here already? Man, it really happened in the blink of an... No. Ooh, what's this? We're here already? It really happened in the blink of an... No. Whoa, we're here already? I guess I really was worrying over nothing. No. Oh, no. Yet I have not uttered a single word. I love the idea that this would be so repetitive that even Faust finds it unbearably irritating to listen to everyone say the same thing. Wow, no. You could have at least let Yi Sang say something though. It's the thing he does. There was a brief cheer, a little hurrah about regaining our colors, followed by a flat-toned explanation of our current predicament, which was then followed by a long, loaded silence, which was a sequence of events I had the pleasure of watching play out on about 10 consecutive occasions. Dante, I understand your confusion, however, perhaps an elaboration of our present circumstance is necessary. And that brings us to the present. Let me get this right. This train's still running, and we're drifting through some unknown dimension. Oh, aught about that striketh me as quite dramatic. Most importantly, are you saying that you already knew that this would happen, Faust? Yes. What the hell is wrong with you, huh? Why would you do this to us? Your buddies, your chums, your pals, your friends, your compadres, your amigos. We're friends, right, Faust? The sinners each begin to voice their anger. Of course, this wasn't the first time Faust and Vergilius intentionally and knowingly omitted certain details about events in our path. It is pretty fucked, to be fair. What, are you insane? It's not like we can just retreat or jump out that door when stuff hits the fan. Opening the door will result in nearly immediate destruction of the physical body. But hey, Foul, at least you know what to do like you always do. You got a plan, right? Right. Faust, whom I had rarely ever seen at a loss for words, was unusually slow to respond. What's up with her? Lass looks totally out of it today. She gives me a sideways glance. There must be something she can't discuss in front of the sinners. Guys, let's pause for a bit. I can do that, I have time powers, so fuck you. Except I don't think I can actually pause time. Whatever. She said that something inconceivable's happened. The other sinner's anger was completely understandable. It also makes sense that this continued lack of communication was harming our trust in Faust. Alright, we're gonna go over the situation from the start, okay? But just letting things play out might really turn everyone against Faust, and for good. Besides, I doubt Faust woke us up in the middle of the trip just to spite us. First things first, I gotta get the sinners to calm down. Then I'll ask Faust to tell us what happened. If there's a problem, we'll figure it out and deal with it as we move along. Tell us what's going on, Faust. All of it, and in a way that we can all understand. Let's hear her out first. Is that okay with you guys? It's gonna have to be, I'm the manager. Fuck you. If you say so, I'll go along with it. Fine. I suppose losing my rag rarely ever did anything. He really did grow. Thank you. Then... After some time, the gist of Faust's explanation was as follows. The cause of this issue, as always, involved a certain contract and a unilateral decision from the higher-ups of Limbus Company. Great, good. W Corp caught wind of Limbus Company's recent distortion contract management promotions and decided to contract us to deal with a mysterious repeated series of incidents suspected to have been caused by a distortion, after multiple failed attempts to resolve it on their own, of course. The distortions themselves likely did not pose a problem for W Corp. Based on the available information, it can be determined that they would have all been neutralized as soon as the train arrived, and any transformed passengers would have been reverted to their human forms. But the real issue was that the passengers were disappearing. Passengers spirited away? Alas, such is an impossibility aboard these trains, is it not? That is the question for which we must discover the precise cause and effect of. Did W Corp share anything to get us started? That appears to be the most prominent cause of this misunderstanding. She explained that W Corp refused to share anything about the trains because they were concerned about maintaining the secrets of their singularity, and if an iota of that information got out, it would absolutely crash their business. But don't worry, lads, we've got 50 squillion years to solve this case because, shit, we ain't going anywhere. Maybe that's exactly why they sought an upstart business like Limbus Company to deal with this, now that I think about it. We wouldn't even know where to start if we didn't have access to the information that the identity cards had to offer. Faust produced what appeared to be a keycard with W Corp logo on it before continuing with her explanations. However, we were given this master keycard that can open and close the hibernation capsules at will. We may return to our respective capsules as soon as the contract is fulfilled and safely complete the rest of the journey as we had planned from the beginning. That's really good and useful. Okay. Good. Good and useful. These bloody wings, every single one of them's been absolutely balmy. I think it's a bit unkind of them to ask us to finish the puzzle without all the important pieces. Yeah, but they don't care, do they? They just like to throw stuff at a problem until it goes away. At least at T-Corp, their chief executive director tagged along as our assistant, not to mention kindly explaining so many new things to us, and so quickly as well. It sounds like Miss Faust was stuck between a rock and a hard place herself. Some sinners grew more receptive after her explanations, albeit with a sigh. I would have appreciated it if you at least gave us a hint. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it's not like there's someone out there monitoring your every move and every word, right? There probably is. That is... but not everyone was willing to let this go without saying their piece. Next time, I'll take your inputs into account. I will change nothing, but I'll have thought about it. And that's everything I can do for her. It's an undeniable truth that Faust has disappointed the sinners with what she's done. But she is Faust, after all. I'm sure she has backup plans of backup plans to get us out of this situation. So what's next on our agenda? Yeah, what's done is done, right? Besides, it's not like we gotta rot away for thousands of years inside this metal box. Unless we do, or if they destroy the capsules. They might. That is something I must first discuss with Dante. Discuss? But discussing things with other people is very unlike Faust. What are we discussing, Faust? We must converse in a lower volume, Dante. Well, why are we whispering? Her secretive attitude only exacerbated my already battered sense of safety. My connection to Faust, has been severed. Oh, interesting. I'm sorry, what? I cannot access Faust's knowledge at the moment. The Discord server is down. Admin privileges have been revoked. I guess I really was right to be anxious. Yeah, for real. Big problems. Oh, I dare say combat is occurring soon. But against whom? We won't even be able to kill them necessarily. So these come in if any of the main team fall. Okay. We can keep these two, because they're very good. These guys need to be swapped out a bit, because we're gonna need people who don't suck. It's gonna be an absolute mess of a team, but I don't give a fuck. I just want to try out this new mechanic that the game is letting me use. I'm not trying to do it necessarily efficiently, you know? What do you mean you can't? I mean it in the most literal sense. My access to Faust's input and information, which has always been readily available, is completely severed. Oh, what if everything about the situation is something you don't have access to yet, like you said last time? Now, I don't know whether or not that whole Discord server idea necessarily bears fruit, but it is definitely clear by this point that Faust has limited access to a vast repository of knowledge, either inside her head or through some other means, which obviously right now she is severed from, but what is the nature of it and how has this happened? I assume maybe being on the warp train cut her off from it? But honestly, why would the warp... I mean, it is a different dimension. It's not a mirror world, it's an entirely different dimension, so yeah. One cannot completely dismiss that possibility, but even that is uncertain. Every answer Faust has given me was always full of confidence and methodical expertise. I don't think she's ever said a sentence that was full of speculation and doubt. Then Faust, you are... Yes, at this moment I am limited to operating only with my knowledge. I cannot discern the cause of this disconnection. More than enough precautions have likely been taken place in case of interdimensional travel, but perhaps Faust did not take into account an occasion in which we may have to access an unidentified dimension such as this, or even if it was taken into account, this particular dimension may not have yet been subject to cross-observation. My tongue feels really heavy today, and I'm struggling to say words. That's not good, because I have to record Phoenix Wright after this, and that's a lot more talking. Ish. It's a lot of talking. If that is not the case, then no, never mind. There was nothing that suggested that my connection to Faust would be lost, not even as we boarded the train. To be honest, this is a rather disagreeable situation for me. Alright, for now. Now that changes everything. I recalled the last thing I saw before the hatch on the capsule closed, when Faust told me not to worry so much. Okay, this is just a minor setback, nothing we can't beat, right? We've got this. I began to mutter like I was trying to convince myself. As the manager, my job is to calm everyone down and set their sights on the future, just as Faust did for me immediately before the hatch closed. Now I gotta do that, and do it big, and do it good. If you're right about why you were disconnected, then that problem will solve itself once we're off the train. And if we do ever run out of options, I'll just turn the clock and see what happens. Don't stress yourself too much. We still have a lot to work with. Your knowledge, my clock, the sinners, and... I could feel my confidence taking a hit with every word that came out of my metaphorical mouth, but that seemed to be enough for Faust. She nodded. Understood. And to the sinners, the fact that we are currently confined to a warp train in operation must be a source of enough stress. I believe that sharing Faust's current state with them would add an unnecessary source of tension. I think it would make them more understanding, personally, but I see your point. What? So reckon this door ain't gonna do anything? We're all gonna bite it once it opens? How many times do I have to tell you that you're not even strong enough to break this door down? 1 billion years in this box. Yeah, good idea. So, what now? Do we have to take a searching sweep around each car or something? In the grand scheme of things, yes. Faust cleared the air with a cough before continuing. By A-Corp's standard timescale, approximately 3 days have passed since our departure. As per the contract between Limbus Company and W Corp, I acquired the master keycard placed inside my capsule and adjusted the hatch settings to open automatically in 3 days. 3 days, huh? That's fuck all time in compared to how long this thing will be going for. But people will already be freaking out. I feel like I just blinked, and I guess that's hibernation for you. As you were all informed prior to boarding, there is no way for the economy class passengers to enter the first class car. That is why this place has remained untouched. However, cross-referencing my own deductions and W Corp's rather fragmentary explanations, I can assume that the situation is currently under progress in the economy class cars. Yes, it is. Because imagine if you got on a train that was supposed to take like 5 minutes, and you were still on that train 3 days later. You'd be freaking out. The part where they thrash the shite out of one another, tearing their limbs off, all that mess? No, I doubt that. I don't think it gets that bad in just 3 days. Besides, that's supposed to be business as usual for W Corp, right? There must be something else that's out of the ordinary that they want us to deal with. Precisely. In my opinion, it is... Oh, hold that thought, but a moment! For just a moment, hold the thought! Just as Faust was about to continue, Don Quixote raised her index finger to her lips and signaled her to be quiet. Dost thou hear aught as I do? Scratching, nay, rapping, forsooth, past this gate must be, the illustrious fixer M+M. As Don Quixote kept listening with her ear to the door, an odd expression of half curiosity and half horror appeared on her face. It is possible that there must be, Lady Faust? After that very distressful noise, everyone simultaneously turned their heads to look at Faust, who closed her eyes briefly in thought. Please step aside for a moment, Don Quixote. It would be best if I observed it with my own eyes. With that, she produced the master keycard from her pocket and approached the panel installed next to the door. Whoa, hang on a minute, you're gonna open the door? I couldn't even smack it open. That means it's bad. I intend to follow your usual flavor of suggestion, Heathcliff. That there are times in which a physical altercation is preferable to detached ruminations. My suggestion? Well, I ain't gonna disagree with you there, but what's gone into you, lass? After all, how could I deduce anything without seeing it myself? Bleep. After a brief mechanical beep. It's all horror! Hideous creatures suddenly crashed through the open door and charged wildly in our direction. Cool, so how many are we gonna have to fight? It's presumably gonna be quite a lot. Or they just keep getting back up. Wave 1. Wave 1. I assume, don't know for sure, but I assume we have to beat them down until they eventually give up. Music's pretty good. Bleed, bleed, bleed. They inflict a lot of bleed. Okay, passive. Gain 1 bleed count every time this unit is hit. Consume 3 bleed count on self to gain coagulated blood. Gain offense level and defense level equal to the value. If this unit failed to deal any damage this turn, gain 2 fragile and 2 offense level up. Okay, prioritize people with bleed. Take 10% less damage from bleed rounded down. On hit, the target has bleed, heal 10%. Okay. This doesn't seem like it'll be too difficult, honestly. Go for it, lads. See what you can do. Wouldn't surprise me if they decide to start us off easy, mind you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. Absolutely working them. Get them, I suppose. Oh, fuck him up, Ishmael. Yep. Yep, indeed. Very nice. I don't foresee any issues personally. I'm just curious though, why did they have us have backup characters? Why was that necessary? Yeah. Is it just how they're gonna run these battles from now on that you can use your support team as backup? Lady Faust, however similar in appearance they may have been to the passengers, verily it is as though they were in a complete want of sense. Like people politified by the whale. Don Quixote hesitated until the last second to raise her weapon against them. She hung her head mournfully. Normally, Faust would have told her more information about those monsters before the fight began, and she would not have been burdened by the sheer thought of bringing harm to the innocent. But Faust don't know nothing, because she doesn't have access to the Discord server. Faust began searching the area, closely observing various bodies in the general area for information. You appear particularly inquisitive today, Miss Faust. Ah, yeah, aren't you usually the one who has all the answers while we're racking our brains trying to come up with something? The sinners were starting to feel that there's something off about Faust's behavior, and we should probably just tell them what's going on right now, but we won't. They might even soon realize that there's something wrong with Faust. Don Quixote, they are not dead. Huh? But I punched that one real hard, I did. Observe closer. The parts are all tethered to one another by something, are they not? Oh-ho! It appears that the flow of time has ceased in this space, therefore it follows that the connections that tether bodies to life and away from death remain intact. To my relief, Faust managed to correctly figure out what's going on like her usual self, even if it took her slightly longer than it not usually does. Hey, what did I say? We got this. Huh? What was that about? Nothing. That's not a weird thing you'd need to cover up, though. But okay, sure. But I'd forgotten that not all sinners were content with nodding along to whatever information Faust told us. The flow of time has ceased aboard a warp train, is it? Oh boy. Yi Sang grew pensive. Seeing that, Faust's lips parted for a moment before closing shut. I was starting to get a good read of her expressions. That was an unmistakable look of regret, however short-lived. Howbeit, would it not be more accurate to muse that the flow of time is deaccelerated to the point where, to an extra-dimensional observer, it has slowed to a stop? What is your perspective regarding this suggestion? See, here's the thing, right? Yi Sang is naturally, inquisitive and thoughtful and has the creative mind of a researcher, right? He can look at something and consider it in different ways and think about it. Faust has relied on whatever means she has to draw information for far too long. She may have been a good researcher once, but being deprived of that source of information has actually made her extremely, uncreative. Her brain doesn't work. She's not used to having to actually properly speculate. She's not very good at speculating anymore. She may have been once, but she isn't now. And she's just having to rely on her natural intelligence, as it were, but she's not used to doing that. It's not that she isn't smart. She is smart, but the problem is that she's gotten too reliant on that information, and now she's going to really struggle to try and... She's going to struggle to keep up with Yi Sang, because Yi Sang has a researcher's mind and has been doing this kind of thing his whole life. He's got the right mindset for this, and he's been doing it for many years, whereas she now is not so familiar. So that sucks for you, Faust. Yeah, it does. What do you got? Yes, that is a most rational suggestion, Yi Sang. Did Miss Faust just get something wrong? Wow, Yi Sang sure is a time expert, right? Can you summarize this in easier language now that we're talking about it anyway? Gladly, if you would allow me. Yi Sang began to elaborate with gentle enthusiasm. He loves being smart. That was close. To speak in brevity, it can be said that death is not an element aboard this train. And can ya maybe speak in a little less brevity? To elaborate. Verily, this one's heart beats still. Don Quixote lowers her head and listens closely to what appeared to be a dismembered torso, and shouts with relief. Their state is akin to an unassembled jigsaw puzzle, merely immobilized and separated. Though their corpus has been sundered, the concept of death is at a state of, for all intents and purposes, eternal delay aboard this train, existence in continuance of moratorium. Forced they are to be tethered upon the thinnest yet tenacious thread of life. I ill understand what hath been said here, yet they are not dead all the same, If their severed parts are all connected, then it can be said that no matter how entangled their bodies become, it is not impossible to eventually gather their parts together to form a single passenger. Thus, naturally, we can determine how and why the profession W Corp cleanup agent has come to be. I see, because someone will have to categorize and reconstruct these puzzles once the journey is over. I would hate that job. I hate puzzles. I can't put them together and I complain a lot while I'm doing it. It's really baffling to me that a job like that even exists, and yet, here we are. Ever seen a wing that wasn't baffling in every sense of that word? Still, I guess that means that as long as the train arrives at the station, they'll all be put back together like nothing happened. From what I learned through the W Corp identities, their main job was to gather chunks of flesh together to bring them back to their original shapes before they boarded the trains. It's a lot more visceral when I have to look at it in person. Phew, that is quite the auspicious news among ill tidings indeed. It soon clicked in me what Faust was, though with some awkward effort, trying to do as I watched Don Quixote sigh with relief. Yeah, she was trying to make sure Don wouldn't be sad. It's nice. Maybe Faust was trying to cheer Don Quixote up in her own way. The other Faust would not find it even necessary to do something like that. Dante. What's up? Oh, time to whisper, right? Indeed, I intend to collect further intelligence. Well, if there's anything I can tell you. Faust cast a dark gaze towards the chunks of flesh. Her gaze remained fixed upon them as she whispered. Are they distortions or abnormalities? Neither, I don't think. Oh, yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that. Turns out neither of us really know anything, do we? They weren't humans, that's for sure. From them, I felt the same sensation I felt from monsters. Something inexplicable, an unclear sensation, or an aura. So are we gonna have to spend the whole, sub-chapter trying to fool the rest of the sinners into thinking that Faust is still smart? I felt this somewhere before, I'm sure of it, but I couldn't quite pinpoint the source of this sensation. One thing I do know for sure is that this sensation was not the same feeling I got from abnormalities, distortions, or even the Picatula. If I had to lean one way or the other, I'd say they're closer to distortions? I'm sorry, I don't think they're either of those. Is it difficult to be certain at the moment? Again, I'm not sure how I can explain this, but they're very, very similar to distortions, but also different. It's a bit of a mystery, actually. What the fuck are they, even? If you had to ask then, I'm gonna guess Faust doesn't know. Faust may know, but I, at this very moment, have no way of knowing. I mean, this all implies to me that, we just said that theory about Don Quixote actually being the shoes and not the person, but I actually think it might be more applicable to Faust in that this lady that we see in front of us is not Faust. There is something, an entity, whether it's in her head, in her blade, or somewhere else, that is Faust. This is not Faust. It is a seemingly cooperative symbiotic relationship between Faust and this person, so for all intents and purposes, this is Faust, but this is not Faust. That's the impression I'm getting, anyway. I feel like I should apologize for that. There is no need, Dante. Though the information you have provided me is rather ambiguous, it has helped me to do something of worth. And collecting intelligence myself and creating deductions based on sparse information is quite... She paused, holding a bloody, slimy chunk of flesh in her hands. Did she just smile to herself with gore in her hands? Oh, finally, the awakening has begun. She likes doing research. What's wrong with that? She's a researcher. After a round of intelligence gathering from Faust, we opened the door to the next cabin, only to be greeted by a loud commotion. It's gonna be quite a fucked up journey, I think. It sounds like there are other survivors. Ah, passengers in danger! Wally not, for I have arrived to... Ah! Whoa, 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 don't come any closer. Who the hell are you guys? Oh, these people are cool. Oh, these multi-crack fixers are cool. A four-armed woman suddenly jumped in our path. She appeared without warning. Faust stumbled a little, inadvertently slapped by the figure's swinging arms as she pushed us away. Right, like you gave me any warning before you practically kicked that door open. I don't know, fucking Don Quixote was talking a lot. This appears to be the identity that Faust's, person that Faust's identity is based on for this, so that's pretty cool. Those swords are neat. Would you mind moving that huge sword out of our faces? It's a bit threatening. Threatening? I'm just trying to protect those civilians in this car. Also, is that a bioprosthetic? Must be an old timer, huh? I thought those things were out of style forever ago. It's, well, you know, it's a thing. Oh, you want to see what this old timer's got left in him? Do ya? Fucko. Aha, thou art from the north, verily. Thy garb is that of northerners, no? This really ain't the time, lass. Anyways, it looks like we're in the same mess here. Make way for us, yeah? It's just like, this poor lady's just trying to pass these different personalities that are being presented to her. Like, oh wow, these sure are a bunch of people, aren't they? She seemed to be sizing us up for a moment. Nah, how do I trust you? Got any proof that you ain't bitten? I'm not gonna let all my effort protecting this place go to waste. What, do you think this is a zombie infection? Bitten? Bloody hell are you talking about? Weird, you look completely lost. If you're in one of the economy cars, I'm sure you've seen... Hold on. Are y'all from the first class car? Yeah, we just woke up from our capsules. But none of you look very... I mean, aren't first class seats supposed to be... Well, why didn't you say so from the get-go? Because you swung like two swords at us. It was, you know, a bit jarring. Name's Sasha, multi-crack office rep. With that, she lowered her weapons and allowed us to pass. Have you not left this car for the duration of the ride, Sasha? No, I haven't. We warped over to Z-Corp after picking up one of their contracts, but geez, can you believe that this train broke down? Shit, is it even broken? I'm not feeling hungry or sleepy at all. It stinks of some shady bullshit if you ask me, and that's because it is. You can feel all that even in a prosthetic body? Man, how could I live without my favorite hobby, drifting into a sweet nap after a pleasant meal? So I made sure to get all high-quality parts for him so I could still feel hungry and sleepy. Has there something else of note also occurred? You bet your ass did something else of note go down. Shit's fucked, bruh. How distracting. Is it hard for you to speak without being so hyper? I mean, are you not? We've literally been hanging out with Don Quixote for like 7 cantos. Nearly 7. You must be used to this by now. Or at least stop swinging your arms around like that. It's just windmilling the whole time. Can't do that, friend. I broke all my prosthetic arms in a fight, so I'm calibrating a new set. Gotta keep swinging them if I want them to sync up with the other parts anytime soon. Hence the windmilling. Anywho, I don't know what the hell's going on, but people started turning into some weird monsters all of a sudden. I haven't got a goddamn clue as to who they are. Not a Scooby. Don't seem like they can understand us either. Good thing my train car didn't have a lot of those monsters. I just chopped what monsters there were to pieces and hauled the civilians to this vacant car. 3201 red colors. 3202 red colors. You have decided to protect them despite the potential risk that they may transform as well. But of course, 'tis expected duty of any valorous fixer to stand guard in the front lines against evil to protect the weak. I've been keeping a close eye on them for the past 3 days, and so far, 0 transformations. Go past this car and you'll see what hell on earth really means. Those monsters are constantly trying to claw their way to the front of the train. So if you ask me, I'd wager that some shit went down there at one of the train cars in the back and it spread like wildfire till it reached here. I see. And that's all I can tell you about the situation. So what's your story? Why'd you rich first-class folks suddenly decide to grace us peasants with your presence. Nothing that's happening here could have made us your swanky first-class cars, so what's your business down here? W Corp has hired us to solve this case. We are, fixers! Of course! Indeed, fixers. Faust nodded reluctantly as she affirmed Don Quixote's boisterous declaration. Huh, they got every single one of you a first-class ticket. Your office must be rolling in the dough. You could say that. Wait a goddamn second, so W Corp already knew that this would happen? But, are you really contracted to a wing? Not sure if I trust you. As you must be well aware yourself, contracts and contract fulfillment are of paramount importance to fixers. With that in mind, please recall that W Corp is one of the most secretive wings of the city. Non-disclosure agreement, huh? Makes sense. I wouldn't want to deal with those oofy boys either. Anyways, I'm still gonna have to ask for proof that you're actually contracted by W Corp. And a hefty bribe, if you would. This is the master keycard given to us by W Corp. I believe they can open most doors aboard this train. Faust produced a master keycard from her pocket. I guess there isn't any other way for us to prove that we're actually contracted by W Corp. Didn't really think we'd have to prove it, to be honest. A key card. So you use this to open the path between the first class and economy class car. Let's see, W Corp logo. Whoa, nice materials. Looks like you're telling the truth. Why do we need to convince you exactly? Alright, I won't pry. Not like there's any cash in it for me either. So, I guess you gotta go all the way down there for your job, huh? Yup. The fixer finally got out of our way, then with one of her free hands pointed toward the opposite door. Well, it's your funeral, ladies and gents, or your victory lap if you guys are really that good. Lots of luck to y'all. I thank thee for thy words of courage, Fixer Sasha. I shall trust thee with the protection of this fortress. Prithee, protect the innocents in my stead. Big sis, are you a fixer? Are you gonna save us from the monsters in the car behind us? Oh? Just as we were about to reach the other end of the car, a little passenger pulled on Don Quixote's coattails. Aye, forsooth! Whoa, are you a famous fixer? Well, you may as well just say yes. Forsooth, once again, thou may knowest me as a profoundly illustrious fixer. Whoa, I want to be a fixer too, just like you. Don't pester the lady. I'm sorry, she's my daughter, and... worry not thyself, 'tis no bother at all. Thou must dream of becoming a fixer thyself, little squire. Oh my god, someone else said squire. Amazing. It is fortunate that someone like yourself is aboard the train. Your presence ensured that child's survival. What you talking about all of a sudden? Come on, no need to keep up appearances between people in the same line of work. I'm just here to collect some sweet emergency contract fees from each and every one of them. Are you two on something or what? I see. Yeah, good luck remembering to do that. I don't think Don Quixote needs to hear what she just said. Didn't know you could be like that, Faust. Be like what? You knew there was no way the fix was actually there to protect them out of pure goodwill, but you decided to go along with Don Quixote's solutions anyway, am I right? Sure. Good move. I was getting worried about what might happen if she started acting out again. You saw the twinkle in her eyes too, right? Don Quixote's always been energetic, but she's been especially bouncy today. Eyes. Faust strode towards Sasha with a question. I have one last thing to inquire. It'll be 30k on per inquiry. Fuck you. That is quite an unsound decision to make for someone who claims to be in the same line of work as us. Have you considered the possibility that, once our contract is successfully completed, we could include references to a particularly cooperative associate office in our report to W Corp? Are we doing big business, perhaps? Whoa, you serious? Well then, let me hear it. Were the eyes of the monsters you faced red, by any chance? Sasha paused her swinging arms for a moment upon hearing that question, appearing to either be in thought or trying to recall something, then answered. I don't know, those monsters were red all over, but is there something special about their eye color? Well, for one, my prosthetic eye is red, that passenger over there's got red eyes, and oh, you there, that lady with the big sword's also got red eyes. What, is someone out there paying cash for info on red eyes or something? No, well, it was a question of no significance. Faust nodded lightly in her direction, then opened the door to the next car. Go! I wish I could whistle. I can't whistle. I don't know how. It was just as we had feared. The scene that appeared before us looked like it came straight out of a painting of hell. Yeah, that's a warp train, Kara. That's warp trains. That's warp corp. This company's fucked. Nothing different about these guys. Okay, this should be a sweep.
정화.
I'm gonna pause the montage for a moment just to say that I realized how much these guys are really reminding me of the Blood Red Knight, of Elena from Ruiner. She might be relevant here, and if so, that would be really fucking cool. I know the visuals are obvious, but what actually tipped me off was when they started healing themselves from attacking us, which is a very Elena thing to do. That could be very cool. Looking forward to that, potentially. Alright, back to the montage.
기세가 반격의 기회다.
제법 지쳤나보. 제법 지쳤나보.
잘했군. 한 저놈을 추적해. 한 줄 긋지 이 작살은 필살인 하하 가세.
제법 지쳤나보.
저놈을 추적해. 저놈을 추적해. 그걸로 제압하군. 이게 살다.
느려졌네 가까워.
저놈을 추적해. 이
기름도 나오지
작살은
않는 놈이 구려.
필살의 증명이. 잘했군. 한 놈도 남지 않을 때까지 지금을 반복한다. 쉴 새는 없다.
심장.
그걸로
I love this team. I know, I've said it before, but I do. Very fun. Looking forward to taking them to the railway, to be honest. Ooh, battling in a narrow hallway really takes a lot out of you. I feel like battling in general just does, but sure, man. Too bad. Making big movements when there's not a lot of room to move around in takes more energy than you might think, especially for people like us who use longer weapons. These enemies weren't much harder than the ones we'd fought earlier, but it was inevitable that their sheer number would eventually wear down the sinners. Who? What are these things, Faust? Yeah, you have all the information. Yeah, I've been wondering that too. Why you're so tight-lipped all of a sudden? Those entities are... What do you think those entities are? Huh? Didn't I just ask you the same question? Oh no, are you giving us a chance to come up with our own answers first? Yes, that's precisely it, Sinclair. Of course, Faust did not confirm nor deny his question, but Sinclair was perfectly capable of interpreting her silence in his own fashion. There were some things I learned after fighting them, I think. These monsters aren't mad at us, nor do they want to attack us because we're an obstacle. That's not why they're attacking us. Quite. 'Tis apparent that they hunger for aught, charging at anyone and anything in a desperate quest of it. Right, that's strange though. I thought hunger or thirst wasn't a thing aboard these trains. It could be determined from the entity's attack patterns that their offensives were not based on rational thought. The source of this behavior can only be traced back to primal aggressiveness. Yes, and was there anything else? Anything else? Oh yeah, I think they all had red eyes. Their bodies were wreathed in blankets of red. I smell blood, so that's likely what they're made of. Then it must be that the red was congealed, nay, crystallized blood. Thank you all, your input has all been very helpful. It was my turn to start whispering. What did you learn from that? We are in luck, Dante. I have read upon this subject as a tangent while perusing information regarding our next destination, moved moments before we boarded the train, and while that will be a useful element in resolving this situation, the sinners have also been a very good source of intelligence when it came to categorizing and identifying important evidence from the available sea of information. Your advice was correct, Dante. You mean you know what to do to blow this case wide open? Nothing can be said with absolute certainty at the moment, however, this will be a good place for us to start. With that, Faust turned around and faced the rest of the sinners. I will now present before you a solution to this predicament. Huh? Is there something else we gotta do other than beating the crap out of whatever's in our way? Nah. That will not change, no. However, what I'm about to share will give you a better understanding of the purpose behind W Corp's contract and provide us with the possible means of finding the method by which we may complete it. It is very likely that the entity behind the incident on this train, and by extension, every incident of the same nature that has occurred in previous warp train trips, is a blood fiend. Yeah. Had a feeling. Kind of pleased I picked up on it before it was too late, though. I would have been annoyed because I'd have seen that and been like, oh yeah, of course, because of all the Elena shit. Now, it might not necessarily be Elena, but still. Blood fiend stuff. Damn. What a cliffhanger to end us on. Faust, you crazy lady. It's a very cool intervallo so far, but I'm starting to wonder, and I'm perfectly willing to be proven wrong on this. This is just an early, interpretation, as it were. I do wonder if it's a little bit more style than substance. Because we've had some cool and interesting, we've had some funny moments, really, mostly. So far. Bear in mind, once again, we're like, what, 4 stages in or something? Like 7 stages in, okay. We're not that far in, we're still in the first half, so what I'm saying now does not summarize the fucking intervallo. We've only just got here, basically. But it does feel like there's a lot of flash, but there's not a lot really interesting going on. Like, Time Killing Time had a lot more moving elements and background and stuff going on, but of course, right now, we're just establishing the elements that we're soon going to be exploring. I imagine we're going to find out a lot more about blood fiends, because that was always a subject that came up in Ruiner, but never was really elaborated on other than through Elena's perspective. And, you know, Roland from having dealt with her previously. So far, it just feels like there's a little bit of a lack of substance here. Now, perfectly willing to be proven wrong, I bet there's a lot more as it goes on. But the first half has been fairly quiet fairly scarce in terms of stuff going on. I honestly don't care that much because this is hype as fuck. I mean, look at it. That's so cool. I love how that looks. I love the sound. I love the vibes. I love all of it. And I'm fully willing to let the intervallo play its hand, even if it is a little slow on the build-up. Because, you know, Canto 6 was slow on the build-up as well. Canto 6 built up very slowly. And I love Canto 4, and that built up really slowly. So, yeah. What I'm saying right now is neither a definitive statement on the intervallo, nor a judgment, nor a criticism, really. I would reserve those for when it's done. This is just my current interpretations of things. I'm looking forward to continuing this. I hope you are too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to our members and patrons: Cryolytic, Lady Luna, Malignant Humor, Zanael, Cuds, Kana Samaria, Poe, Porkchop Lebrecht, Scrubby Doo, Lifesteal, Mega Mr. Z-Man, Unclever Name, Lumen, Crystalite, Summercat, Flanny, Patron Dragoon, Lila, Lip Potatoes, Proxy, Caminera, Moa, Heartland, Harak J, Dressos, Lol, Final Legend, Etherbin, Linky, Xeon Cedar, Bimblewort, Majoko, Mymoon, Alkia, Honey Lawless, Sweet Baby Red, Jess Kitty, Plutonium Pie, Dreamer Ghost, Leper Lullaby, K-Bub, Magic Owl, The Frostbite, Monsoon, SCP-106A, Namad, and KennyC800 for support me on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you all so much for watching. It's been some cool stuff so far. Those multi-crack fixers are fucking awesome. I love their designs. Absolutely balling. I'm also very excited to learn more about Blood Fiends, and like, I don't think it's going to be Elena, because that seems like it'd be too, I don't know. It just seems like it'd be too much, but it would be really cool if it was. Like, there's some kind of twist where, I don't know. No, because she'd be dead, because she was part of the Distorted Ensemble. Or I think she'd be dead anyway. I don't think it's either way. Even if that wasn't the case, I don't think it's her. But I'd still be interested in meeting a new Blood Fiend, as it works. The only other one we know, which doesn't really count because he's technically an abnormality, yeah, technically an abnormality, was Nosferatu. But yeah, hopefully we'll learn more next time. Hopefully it pays off. Thank you so much for watching, and whatever happens next time, I hope I see you there. Doodles, goodbye.